Is it worth doing? My clients often ask me this. Is it something, and it's something that I ask myself before making my own home improvements, is it really worth it? Is it worth doing this thing or the other thing? And when I say worth it, I mean, is it worth it financially? Yes, that's the measurable bit, and that's, you know, what a lot of people are concerned about. But it's also the time, the effort, the energy, the disruption to your life that a home improvements project, especially a big one, can really have a big impact on your life whilst it's happening. And so if it's not worth doing it, then there is no point in doing it. So this is something that you do have to decide for yourself, but I can help you figure it out. And I'm hoping that this video will do that for you. Ultimately, it's your judgment call to make, because value is relative. What's important to you may be not important to somebody else. And so if the end result is going to give you value, then that's something that you can judge and somebody else can have an opinion on, but it's not, if it's not their home, it's not their life, they cannot make that decision for you. But I'm going to take you through the process that I go through to think about, is this project worth doing for me? And hopefully this is going to help you. So right now we are considering doing some work to our house so that we can make it lettable. We're going on a long trip next year and we're thinking about the possibility of renting out the house while we're away. So I've been going through this process to figure out, is it going to be worth it? Primarily are looking at, is it financially worth it, but also that time, effort, energy, and disruption. Those are the things that I'm considering. So the first thing I do is basically ask about, to figure out if it's worth it, is what is the outcome I'm expecting or hoping for? So for this project that we're thinking about doing to our house so that we can let it, what we're looking to achieve is to make the home better, a better place for us to enjoy, safer. Our gas cooker is quite old now. We are smelling the occasional little slight gas leaks from it. It's starting to burn a bit green. It's definitely time to change it out. And our boiler is losing pressure. There are some leaks coming from some of the little pipes underneath it. So that also needs to be dealt with. So these are sort of like maintenance tasks. I mean, we've basically got a lot of those kind of niggling on the list to do, like stuff we need to get sorted. I'm sure you have similar things. I was talking to a mum on my way back from school pickup the other day, and she was saying, you know, they've had their curtain rail has been about to drop off the wall for a couple of years, and it's just been one of those things, like not really urgent, but she noticed like it's very close to dropping off, so they sorted it out. So this is the kind of thing, I mean, a whole load of this kind of thing is what I'm thinking about we need to do for us to enjoy our home, for all those to-do list items to be kind of like struck off and not need to worry about them, and for us to be able to let our home and potentially financially cover the costs of doing the work, as well as possibly being able to have a little bit extra left over for us to enjoy our trip more, or to pay for some other home improvements. This is a project in, you know, ongoing project, our home is. So there's all these extra things that we can always spend money on. You may have that feeling yourself, like your home is a bit of a money pit. So if we can get our home lettable, if we could do that next year, and then maybe potentially we've got the option to do that again repeatedly, and each time it can generate income for us that we can then use to spend on our home, and then we can continually upgrade the home and make it more and more enjoyable each time. So that's the outcome that I'm looking to achieve. That's what I'm thinking about. The next thing I ask then is, what is the potential amount that we're either going to save or gain? For this, I recommend that you underestimate what you're likely to get so that you can be hopefully pleasantly surprised. And if you're in terms of your project, if you're thinking about a house extension or a new kitchen or new bathroom or something like that, loft conversion, this may be more relevant to you from a resale value rather than a letting value. I know that my approach to considering my home as a kind of an investment that continually makes money for me whilst I live in it as well. It's not like I'm not letting property as a landlord particularly, but it's looking at ways that I can generate money from my home. That's not something that is that common to do, but it is something that you can consider as well if you think, oh, that sounds interesting. It's something that you can definitely do. But it may be more relevant for you in terms of, well, if we spend this money, are we then going to recoup that money if we were to sell? So I know that's something that a lot of my clients ask me about, and we explore that. So that might be more relevant resale rather than letting value. Or it could be from, energy savings that you're going to be able to make and then lower energy bills, or other savings from like being able to do things at home that currently cost you money to go and do somewhere else. So for example, a recent client of mine, they're saving now 28 hours a month and £300 a month because we created this double height space for them to do aerial acrobatics. That's their hobby, and not just their hobby but also profession. And so they can do that now. They can practice that at home without having the travel expenses, time, and the hiring the space expenses that they had before. So they're saving £300 every month because of the work that we did to their home. So that could be something that you could consider as well. Maybe you can save money from your lifestyle. So what I'm looking at in terms of letting our home for the time that we're planning to be away, we're looking at somewhere in the region of £2,000 to £4,000. And maybe there'll be a saving that comes from us servicing the boiler, in terms of it may last for longer. It may reduce potential negative, maintenance costs if it breaks down, and possibly it'll be more energy efficient as well. And also, planning to do some big decluttering, and I think we're going to be able to sell quite a few things. And I'm estimating about 250 quid maybe that we could get from some of the things. There's a few big items that I think we could sell. So those are the potential money that we could gain from this work. And then I'm looking at what's the potential cost of the work. So this is something that I recommend that you overestimate, so that you know that you can comfortably afford it, and you're less likely to get a horrible shock if suddenly, it's double what you thought it was going to be. So where there's an estimated range, for example, we're looking at buying a new gas cooker. I've been looking at refurbished ones and ex-display because our kitchen ultimately I'd like to extend, and when we do extend, it'll be a completely new kitchen. So I'm doing things in a kind of not a completely temporary way, but not looking at this as being, a big spend and a big long-term investment on the kitchen. So we're going to get a new cooker, but if it's a refurbished cooker or an ex-display cooker, that will be fine. So I've been looking at prices, and I've seen cookers that range from like £120 to £250 that would be absolutely fine for what we're looking for. So I'm going to take that higher figure, the 250, and put that in my budget, because I know that we could get something for less than 250 if we take the time to shop around. But if we've got 250 in the budget and we make a saving, then that's all good for us. So at this point, don't be too optimistic and assume the worst. Be as pessimistic as you can, really. So overall, I'm estimating it's going to cost about 1.5k for all the works that we're planning to do. That includes the new gas cooker, gas engineer, insurance, materials. We've got lots of DIY projects, redecoration projects that we're planning to do, bits of pieces of like reupholstery, refurbishing a lamp, quite a lot of different things. And, you know, here's the thing, I struggle not to be optimistic. That's kind of my personality. And it's typical in construction to be optimistic. I think probably a lot of construction projects just wouldn't happen if there wasn't some kind of tendency to be optimistic. But I have taken my advice here. I've taken upper figures where I've got some kind of estimate. But I know that I might not have included for everything that I ultimately really want to do. There's a chance that I'll add more costs in, like I might want to get a new carpet, some extra bits and pieces here and there. It's easy to add more into any project, and that's obviously going to add more cost, time, effort. So I've looked carefully at what are the essentials to do, and then what are a couple of nice to haves to add in that bit extra quality to kind of satisfy myself in a way that doesn't go too far, but hopefully it'll satisfy me enough that I won't want to add in too much extra, that I've accounted for, you know, essentials and a bit more for fun. And so the fourth thing is, so once you know those three things, what the outcome is, how much that's going to benefit you, how much it's going to improve your quality of life, any possible gains like potential financial return on your investment for like resale or let, or energy efficiency savings or possible lifestyle savings, then the cost, how much it's going to cost to do the work. So then once I've got that, I compare the cost, time and energy spent and weigh it all up. So if you want to know a bit more about time and how you can sort of use that to perhaps get your project finished by Christmas, then I'll link to somewhere somehow I'll link to another video that I've done about time. But time, energy, cost, all of these things, they all come into it. So then I think, okay, I've weighing it all up. Is it worth it? Ask myself again, is it really worth it? So for my project, I'm anticipating about 1.5k spend, and the lower end income is potentially about 2k. So that's maybe, you know, 500 quid to spend on our holiday or put towards some other home upgrades. I'm not sure if that's enough to make it really worthwhile for us. Yeah, it does cover the cost of doing the work, but the extra is quite marginal, and 500 quid, like that can easily be swallowed up with me deciding to spend a bit more here and there on extra bits and pieces. So if we decide not to let our house out, then there are quite a few things that we just don't need to do that are specific to letting. So one of those would be getting specialist insurance. I'm estimating that at around 500 quid, and that's possibly an optimistic figure because it can be quite expensive, letting insurance. And that's a third of my project budget. So what we could do is, if we don't let it, we could just spend about 1k and we will get to enjoy our home more for ourselves. We'll know that it's safer. We'll get rid of those like little leaks and pressure drops on the boiler and be sure that it's going to last the winter. It's quite a new boiler, it should be fine. And the gas cooker, we'll know that that's safe as well. But we won't have all that extra hassle and expense that's necessary to let the house out, because obviously we're going to have to clear out the wardrobes and make lots of space, like get out all of our personal stuff out of the house as much as possible so that it's clear for other people to use and enjoy. And that's quite a lot of hassle to do that. So, you know, is possibly 500 quid worth it? Not sure. But in a better case scenario, who's this phoning me? I can't take that right now. In a better case scenario, if we can achieve that higher letting rate of say 3,000 to 4,000, then we're going to easily cover costs, even if they go a bit over, and we'll have more left over to either enjoy on our trip or to make more improvements when we get home. So the thing is that we will sorry, I actually answered that phone at the time. The thing is that we will have to do some of the work to get the house photo ready and then promote it before we'll know if we'll be able to let it or how much we're going to be able to let it for. So what we can do is leave some of those costs, like getting letting insurance and stuff, until later on, so we can save that if it doesn't let. Is it going to be worth the disruption, all our weekends being used up doing DIY from now until Christmas? That is a question. Like, if we don't do it, then we'll have that time to do other things. But if we do it, then our home is going to be safer and more enjoyable for us. So ultimately, I think it is worth that short-term pain is going to be worth that longer-term enjoyment. So that's where I'm kind of leaning. It's not just my decision to make, so it's a decision that we'll make together. But this is where I'm kind of leaning, and it's like, I think it is going to be worth it to make the house safe and beautiful so we can enjoy it more. But we're going to wait until we have let it to be able to spend on insurance and those other extras that are necessary for letting it. So basically, this process, it's helped me to identify how much of the work to do and the sequence of the work. And hopefully it's going to help you do the same with your improvements. So if you'd like some more of my help to figure out if your project's going to be worth it and help you plan things out so you can stay in control of your spending, your time, your energy, then what you need is my Renovation Roadmap Workshop or the My Home Project Planner, and you'll find more details about those in the description. And I've just realised that's our electrician hopefully come to fix our shower, which just broke last night. We've been having cold showers, they're awful. So you can watch more about how to plan for your projects so you can retain control over your deadlines, over your budget, and achieving your standards in my video somewhere around here. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye for now.